Hey, welcome everybody to All About the Game. My name is Todd Blyleven, and I'm joined by my co-host Dave Majeski, and we are back.
We're back.
Popular demand. You guys have been asking for it. We took a little break there, and super excited to be back and be with you, Dave. We have tons of great conversations, like almost daily throughout the week, and just really excited to be here and have talk to the audience. So
yeah, it seems like along with your son, everybody's wrapping up their high school season, getting ready for, some people call it the summer season, the travel ball season, but essentially it's the recruiting season. So that's what we want to dig into today. We might rename this podcast Recruiting Realities, because with Todd's years of experience, my 1 or 2 years of experience times 20, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't want to say we know it all and we've seen it all, but boy, whether it's as a scout, as a dad, as a coach, helping kids out, giving speeches around, I'd like to say we've seen it all, and hopefully we have a couple of answers we can share.
Yeah, I agree, Dave. I think, a lot of times, as we've done this podcast, we've brought on some really cool guests, and we've dove into their backgrounds, how they started, say, whether it was Tim Bogar or somebody else, Nick Caringi with Little League, or an Alan, Russell that came on as a sports therapy expert, to the Cade Griffiths. I mean, we've brought on, and we're still going to bring on great guests. I think this is something that, we want to make a little bit more consistent. But in the end, too, like you and I both, we've been around, whether it was, playing professional baseball ourselves, playing in college, going through the recruiting process ourselves. Yeah, it was back in the day, but we've also had kids. We've had, daughters that have played, son that's going off to college. I'm fresh into the recruiting cycle of things, all the travel ball stuff. So we've done it from the parent side. We've done it from the coaching side. We've had organizations. We've helped hundreds of players get into schools. We've talked to thousands of coaches promoting these players, most of the time for free, sometimes for a dinner or a lunch. And, in my case, when I ran my indoor training facility, I, sometimes would have consultations with families, and they'd pay me for my services. And, but, in the end, we built now what's called the Scout Hub, and all those products are derivative from really all the crap in the industry that we don't like.
Yeah.
Whether it's the showcases and being invited, multiple times a week to all these, high paid dollar showcases and combines, which I'm not saying anything bad about them. But it's funny, and you can go into a little bit of that. I know you're getting ready to post something as well on something funny that happened to you. I thought that was a really amazing story on that journey, but then the realities of it. And I think your name of, recruiting realities is like spot on, because we're getting hit up as families. Recruiting companies are playing on our empathy as parents. We don't want our kids to fail. We don't want them to not make a team. We don't want that journey of the travel ball for 13 years. Dylan just played his last high school baseball game. And the majority of kids that are all playing that, they're not going to go on to play college baseball. So their career in baseball is over, and they're starting a brand new chapter in life. And as the parents that are so involved and want their kid to keep playing, that's a challenging dinner table conversation. It's tough. We think about it all the time. So we built products to be able to hopefully save some money, bring crazy amounts of great exposure, and then also connect them to college coaches at a fraction of the cost of what other organizations are doing. But what I don't want, Dave, is I don't want this to be like a sales pitch. I really want to focus on the realities of it and what you and I have seen. And I'm not afraid to call out some people on things. They need to better check themselves in today's world and keep the parent and the athlete up front at the foremost thought of it's what they're doing, the programs they're building is all about putting that athlete in the best situation. They're not just a number.
Yeah.
And I know you and I get very passionate about that.
We do. And to try to make it cut and dried simple, the absolute reality of recruiting is I have very good friends in the coaching world, baseball, softball, football, you name it. Even if they are my best buddy, even if they were my older brother, if I called them up and said, hey, I've been working with this kid. Hey, I just saw this kid the other week. Hey, I worked at camp and you got to see this kid. No matter what they think of me, no matter how much they trust me and my opinion and my eye and my vision and my talent evaluation, I'm sure there's a random case out there, but basically no college coach takes somebody else on their word and says, great, Dave, thanks. Send them my way. Here's a full scholarship. I know you know talent. I trust your judgment. I don't care. Send them my way. Here's a full scholarship. So honestly, I don't mean to keep saying the same word, but the actual reality is in that conversation, the coach says, wow, fantastic. Thanks, Dave. When can I see them play? Yep. So yes, there's different ways to go about getting seen. And we'll touch on a bunch of this in the coming weeks with video, with going to a camp or, playing at the right tournament for the right travel team. But you were starting to talk about the empathetic approach, the sales approach by some of these companies. They really have it pinpointed. They really pull on the heartstrings because they'll approach the mom and dad and say, hey, college, some of them are $50,000, $60,000 a year. Are you telling me you're not going to spend $2,000 and give it to me and get a $50,000 scholarship? I guarantee you, look at my track record of placing kids.
Yeah.
Whereas, again, if I'm the college coach and some recruiting service guy sends me a piece of paper, oh, this kid's great. I'm thinking, well, how many times have you seen them play? Are they your kid? Do you know them personally? How many tournaments have you seen? Have you followed this kid around? Because essentially that kid gave you $3,000, you wrote him up. Maybe one day you took some video and now you're selling them the dream. They've bought into you. Your sales pitch worked. So Todd, I know that's not what you did with Dylan, and he had a whole bunch of offers. So what was your approach to that?
Yeah, and I think that, you and I both talked about this off the air. And, this is not to bash any company. We're not doing that. The NCSAs, the Place, the, other recruiting companies, the field levels, they do some great things. Their platforms are nice. They have some good people that are working in their office with passion. So we're not bashing anybody, but what we're doing is we're kind of setting the check here. And we're saying, as a parent, and I'm going to go into Dylan's, here's a prime candidate, right? And I'm going to just talk about my son's recruiting adventure. Here's a kid that's a switch hitting catcher, third base, athletic kid that played on some amazing elite travel teams in Southern California and North Texas, was part of the best, always hitting in the middle of the lineup for the most part, a joy to be around, great kid, good athlete. Oh, and by the way, his grandpa's in the Hall of Fame. His dad played professional baseball, was a major league scout. Our name is not tarnished in the industry. So you would think that kid would be a gold mine, the lineage, he's a big kid.
It's a snap.
Snap, easy, full ride, throw it all down. But that's not the reality of it anymore. And, unfortunately, with as many coaches that are transferring and changing jobs all over in college, because they're trying to do the best they can for their families, but it's just the way the industry works now. The names and everything else sometimes get miscombobbled. So it really comes down to marketing, and you've got to be able to market your athlete. And even though I could send an email out to coaches or whatever, I'm still dad. And I'm still but what that does is it gives opportunity for coaches to see what that athlete's doing. Sometimes, like when I first started, I was only able to send, a video like in an email. And that was my primary platform. Was I was using a Word doc, sending emails out. Here's a little video of him playing. I put this highlight reel together. It was like 5 minutes long. No coach is going to watch a 5-minute video. You just don't have time. As much as I want the college coaches to like go, oh man, all right, I'm going to sit down and stop everything. I'm going to watch this and really dive in. I'm going to read everything. That's not the reality of it. And I quickly found out that even though I was getting a lot of hits on Dylan, there wasn't a whole ton of engagement. And up until, his sophomore year, started getting more bites, bigger schools, and then COVID hit. So now I'm dealing with COVID, and like the rest of the world, and all those poor seniors and juniors that were extremely affected. Well, so was my son as a sophomore back then. So now he's heading into the prime time of his recruiting platform, his year going into his senior year, that junior summer. And he's being now compared to at 185 pounds where he was at, barely benching, 170 or whatever he was doing, right? Or 150. He's being compared to 23, 24-year-old kids in the transfer portal. And that's not I'm not talking bad about them, because those kids are getting an opportunity to play. They were affected. The whole world was affected by COVID, unfortunately. But now that's totally affected Dylan. So now all those big D1s and everyone else just kind of fell off the table, because how can you compare a 16, 17-year-old kid to a 23, 24-year-old man that has been playing college sports, or woman that has been playing college sports for 3 or 4 years already, and now you're competing with them at that position to go in and start the next year? It's not fair. And it's not the coach's faults. It's just the way it is. So we had to take a really strategic approach. And this is where you and I started talking about building the athlete resume and trying to put something in a container that gave the ability to aggregate all of Dylan's player report pages, from Perfect Game to PBR to Baseball Factory to NCSA free profile, all the things that I'm not a big believer on paying thousands of dollars and having somebody sit in a brick building like you mentioned. And now they're gonna really try to get to know my kid, and they're gonna share his metrics all over the place. And boom, now they get credit for the recruiting piece, when at the end the college coach is going to come out and watch him play. But we wanted to build a container that allowed a coach to scroll through a web page basically in 30 seconds time, see multiple videos, stop where they wanted to stop, and have everything all in one place. And that's where we've gotten now with the athlete resume. And he's in the draft portal, so I don't know what's going to happen with the MLB draft with him, but guess who has, access to Dylan's athlete resume and profile in it's like a quick view. MLB scouts.
Right.
It's crazy.
That name is instantly recognizable. When you see this jersey walk in that says Yastrzemski, well, you don't automatically offer that kid a full ride. You don't automatically draft that kid, but you're going to give him every chance. You're going to look, you're going to watch. It's the same thing with Blyleven. That name commands instant respect on a baseball field. And yet Dylan didn't have 500 offers. He didn't have people beating down the door. COVID, of course, had something to do with that. But even with the name Blyleven on the back of his jersey, he couldn't just sit around and wait for all the offers to come to him. He had to figure out how to go achieve them, how to market himself, how to promote himself. This past weekend, I was just speaking to a group up in South Carolina. And I always, before the speech, I do this as much as I can, ask the coach, where is everybody? Ask the parents. So tell me what's going on. How's the recruiting going? I almost always hear the same answers. The typical start is, well, we don't really have a lot of looks. We're just starting. I don't know if we're in the right tournaments. That's why we brought you here. You can tell us how to do this. You can get us going on the right foot and really spur everybody on to getting a recruiting offer. So I usually, whether this is to the group or to one or two kids or families, I say, okay, if I had you write down a list of what your buddy should do to get recruited, what your buddy should do to put their name out there, what would you tell them? I promise you, everybody comes up with the same answer. Oh, well, he should post some videos on Twitter. She should email a college coach. They should go to a camp, and they give the exact answers. But yet, I don't know if it's laziness. I don't know if it's people are scared of the computer, or they're scared of contacting a coach and bragging about yourself or bragging about your child. Whatever it is, there is some sort of dead end there, because everybody understands, whether it's fully or just a piece of it, people understand how to promote and how to send video. I mean, nowadays, the phone almost does it itself. It takes great video. And like you said, the coach doesn't need 20 minutes of fireworks and all these graphics. Just a little clip from the hitting lesson, send that off. They get to see the athlete, the size, the strength, the attitude, the ferociousness. They get to see the mechanics in 3 swings. Now, the offer doesn't come now, but the coach knows, hey, I got to see that kid in person. Or maybe they see the growth from Dylan when he was a 9th grader to 10th grader to 11th grader. He put on some weight. He put on some strength. Hey, all right. So this is the reason why we've had talks for years about how to construct this resume, to dumb it down, make a product that is so simple that anybody could do it, put their information, put their videos together. Now, we got a pretty good product here, but essentially, let's help some kids, let's help some families. $60. We can't, how do you find anything that's cheaper than that? But let's make a product that even someone that barely knows how to turn their computer on can do. I mean, you've done so much work on this, Todd. You got drop-down menus, like arrows that say insert video here from your phone. I don't know. Can you pull up one of the examples maybe?
Yeah, let me pull up. I'll pull up baseball, and a couple of different various resumes. But I think one thing before I do that you hit on, and it's really, it pulls at the heart of the parent or the athlete, is if I'm standing there with you at Dylan's ball game or your daughter's softball game, and we're talking about our kid to another parent or maybe another coach. Yeah, what do you think about it? I'm okay to like tell you everything.
Yep.
But the minute you take off your jacket and I see University of Florida college coach example, okay, hold on. Yeah, I'm going to be quiet because I don't want to say anything stupid. I'm not sure what I want to say. And I think that has a lot to do with the reason that, a lot of parents aren't as active as they should be. They don't know how, because like you, I went down to a group down in Austin. Some of the parents didn't know what videos were acceptable. What should they put up? Can I offer suggestions? Are we going to check all the videos first before they put them up? Why? They all don't have to be perfect. That's the whole part of it. Like you're talking about, we have over 5,000 baseball coaches in our college portal, over 5,000 softball, over 10,000 football. You think that each one of those coaches looks for the exact same thing when they look at an athlete? I was a scout for 8 years. I never went out and saw the exact same player. Sure, I compare certain little pieces like the Troy Tulowitzki's game or something that I saw and I liked. Definitely not the same player. So I think what we did with, I'm going to pull this up right now, Dave. Let me share screen. Let me make sure you can see this.
Good. That's good.
Yeah. So, what we did with the Scout Oven, this is, really built on all the realities of college recruiting and all the empathy pull with the parents. And we want to be able to deliver the most professional, coolest looking athletic resume on the market, hands down. We will beat anybody. I challenge openly, show me a resume that's better than this right here, that functions better. It's fully customizable. I'll challenge any company in the world to show me something that's better than this right here for $60 for a lifetime resume. But you can add your photo and your video highlight. You can add an intro video. Hey, my name is Dylan, whatever. But all your player info, fully customizable. It's built for, per position. So you can add your different positions, academic info, social links. So, each sport is a little different, where baseball and softball are pretty high on the Twitter posts. So we added, you can add some Twitters, your highlight videos. So like you were saying, Dave, show the coach your swing in the cage. Well, they like it. Now they've progressed on, and we have 12 video containers, opportunities to put 12 videos that you're shooting from your phone or highlight videos from the other player pages into this, to where this coach can literally sit here and watch 12 1 to 2 minute, 30-second videos and really make their mind up on, man, now I really want to see this athlete go play. Game schedule. So now where do I see him play? Boom. Put your game scheduling link. Analytical stats. If you don't have access, I talked to a coach yesterday. If you don't have access to all of it, there's places you can go to get some of those tested. But if you don't put them in here, it doesn't populate. So it's not the end of the world. But you can put validation links. So if I took Dylan out to go run, for example, and his time has gone down over the last couple of years, which is great for him. I took a video of him running the 60. Now coaches can see that run, that gait. They can see his effort all the way through. Testimonials, athletic awards, scholastic awards, coaches' testimonials. Here's where you can aggregate all your resources into one. But at the end of the day, you're giving coaches an opportunity to scroll through the page. Here's our softball one. I mean, this is a beautiful resume all the way through and through. Gives every bit of athletic, personal, academic information that you can. And going back to what you were talking about, Dave, where kind of maybe it's benchmarking, earmark it a little bit like it's lazy, or maybe parents just don't know what they're doing and what they're supposed to put up. Well, this is a template. Here it is.
Right.
This is exactly what you need to do. Go section by section, fill it out, put in your stuff. And then, I want to talk about, we just put the soccer one up and on. But I really I'm going to stop sharing, because I want you to talk about more of that when an athlete's getting ready to put all this information in. I don't think that, here's where I'm going with this. I think that your coach, your organization that you're playing travel ball with, your high school coaches, if they're active, which I know they all are out there to do their best, but some don't have all the time in the world with teaching and coaching 4 teams or whatever, different levels. And then maybe your neighborhood guru of used to be a college athlete. That's your resource. That's your inner circle, where you should be going to those people and saying, help me get my kid recruited. Now, there's others out there, boutique recruiting companies that are awesome, handheld. They don't cost that much, and they're also going to be able to take what you're doing. But those companies aren't generally using a resume like this. So my question to you is, if you had a resume like this with your daughter when you were going through things, and granted, take yourself out of the expertise that you're in, put yourself in someone else's shoes that doesn't really know, where do you take this? Where do you go with it?
Such a great question. In an ideal world, a soccer player, a 10th grade football player, 11th grade baseball player, they would just go about their business, work on their game, play as hard as they could, and the head coach would do the recruiting for him. The head coach would be tapped in, male or female. They would either know people because they've been coaching for 25 years and they know the college coaches, and they just make a call. They sit you down one-on-one and say, hey, I checked with the guidance counselor. I know your grades. What do you want to study? How far do you want to go away from school? Unfortunately, that doesn't really happen. Now, of course, if we're talking about 20,000 coaches across the country, there are those that are tapped in, that work hard and not only help the kid become a great soccer player, but they also try to promote them. They also try to help them with recruiting and get a college life, a college scholarship. But the reality, again, is if it doesn't work that way, eventually that 11th grader is going to graduate. And that head coach of the high school team, he's got another crew he's got to worry about. So, you almost have to think of it in a little bit of a selfish manner that you only get one chance at this. Yeah. And again, in an ideal world, your high school coach will already be tapped in, already have the network, and already have everything set for you. I don't mean to make that sound like bad news, because if you understand what I'm saying, these high school coaches, maybe they're out of their league. They're a football coach and they're also coaching baseball for one reason or another. Maybe it's a female softball coach and she's got a young kid at home and she can't be doing all this recruiting stuff. Maybe she or he is so young that they don't have the network yet. They don't have the network of college coaches that they can just call from their phone. But the good news is, almost every coach I've ever talked to, they are in it for the right reasons. Of course, they want to win, but if a 10th grade kid, if one of my 11th grade boys or girls comes to me and says, hey, coach, can you help me with this? Hey, coach, what do you think about that? Hey, coach, I think I want to study nursing. I think I want to go 3 hours away from home. What schools? Most coaches are in it for the right reasons, and the world will stop and they will help that kid. That's sometimes right. It just takes a little bit of a push from the kid's side. So now if we're talking about this athlete resume for $60, my goodness, if a family bought it, started filling it in themselves, and then maybe at lunch, maybe after practice, whatever, on the coach's off period, if they're teaching, you walked in and you say, hey, coach, check this out. And you showed it to them, you asked for a little bit of help. Hey, can you time me running a first? Hey, can we get in the weight room and can you video me throwing up 225? Can you do a testimonial for me on my resume? I can't imagine a coach is going to say no. They're all going to do it. So now you have everything you need. You got this professional looking resume that you can update. You can change all you want. The coach is helping you. But we've seen that there is one more little roadblock, it seems, because people have this product. Now, how do I send it out? Where do I send it? Who do I send it to? Yeah. And again, I don't think it's laziness. It's just they've never done this before. It's my first kid. This is my first go around. And because of COVID, things change. We got all those tic tacs going on. We got all this stuff. I don't know, all this weird things. I can't keep them all straight. So, I mean, one of our conversations, Todd, I said, we have to do something to make it super simple for our customers that have purchased this resume. They purchased it. We helped them fill it out. We gave them ideas on how to make it look good and what information the college coaches are going to need. We got to make that roadblock disappear. We got to somehow make it just as simple for people to get in contact with every soccer coach they want, with every football coach in the country. So do we have anything like that, Todd?
Good tee up right there. Yeah, no, we do, and we had to build the bridge, right? We had to offer something that you hit on in a couple things with talking about the going to the coach and saying, hey, who can you send this out to? And maybe it's a young coach, maybe it's an experienced coach, and they have 100 schools or they have 100 coaches. Well, and the way that coaches transfer all the time, maybe now they have 50. I talked to a recruiting company in Texas that they've got, the guy said, well, I've got about 100 people in my network. Okay, well, how would you like 5,000 coaches contacts at your disposal instantly? And so we built it, Dave. And right now, today, because we just launched in basketball, we're in baseball, softball, basketball, and football. We have over 35,000 college coaches in this. And I'm going to show you what we're talking about here. So
what do we got for them, Johnny?
Here we go there. For $10 a month. And I know people have said, like, really, why $10 a month? Like, I'm going to call them out. NCSA, one of their biggest promotions when you go on their website is they have access to over 35,000 college contacts. Well, guess what? Next week, we'll have 10,000 more than that in our platform. So how easy this is to use, and it's not going to cost $2,000 or anything else to use this thing, is basically we're in baseball, softball, football, and basketball. I'll go ahead and show you what this looks like. So you have access to all the divisions. So I'm on the softball Division I platform. I have a drop down. I instantly select, pick a school, Dave. What school do you want? You pick a school.
Let's go with the shirt I'm wearing for a girl I used to coach, Anna Gold. She goes to Duke University. She is the leadoff hitter for the softball team.
All right, here we go. So Duke University, I selected it. All the information automatically pops up. City, state, whether it's private or public, average GPA, average SAT scores, SAT for math, reading, ACT scores, yearly costs in and out of state. I've got so we're in Duke softball. So I have the Duke softball Twitter handle, Instagram handle, Facebook handle. And you know how important that is when you're trying to follow a school. Number one, you want to learn as much as you can. Follow them on social. You should be hitting all their platforms. Be a fan of that school. And then here's the meat of it. Here's the gold, where we have all the coaches in the system, right? And these are updated. So this system was updated as of April, but basically you can go right in and you can select a coach and you take a look at, list their name, list their email right away. I have instant email access, click of a button, and I'm emailing the coach my athlete resume. What's really cool too is I can instantly go in coach's Twitter, click on the Twitter. I'm following now Coach Josh Bloomer at Duke. Easy. I'm done. It's simple. I can go into 20 different schools and follow coaches in less than probably 10 minutes. I can be following 20 power schools coaches socially, to where when I go to put up my home run that I just hit the other day, there it is. I'm just tagging them. Because
do you know how many fights this would have solved with my daughter and I? Because every day she would roll her eyes at me, and I love her to death. She's a wonderful kid, but every day I'd say, hey, did you do your recruiting today? How many emails did you send out? And sometimes she would say, I don't know what to write. I don't know how to write this. I don't know the coach this. Did you follow the coach on Instagram? Did you, Todd, this? I love it and I hate it because it's way too late for me and my daughter. I got all the eye rolls, but this solves all the fights. I guarantee it.
Well, it puts every single coach that has their information displayed on all the sport platforms. It gives it to you instantly. And like I mentioned, you can go from division to division. You can go back up to the homepage. If you have multi-sport, let's say you have a son playing baseball and a daughter playing softball, you have access to 10,000 coaches at your disposal from your phone, from your tablet, from your laptop, whatever, all the way through. And what the other cool part is access to the recruiting questionnaires for the school. So you can go in instantly, fill out the request, their recruit questionnaires. A lot of times they'll have, put an attachment here. You can attach, guess what? Your athlete resume, right? So I just grab my link. I now go back over to the coaches portal. You and I both built this template of an email that you can just copy this. It's okay. I'm giving permission for you to copy this part right here. This email said, hello, coach, my name is Dave Majeski, and I'm excited to be writing you this email, right? And then drop your athlete resume link right in there, put your name down, your phone number where you can be contacted, and send away. And if you do that, like I said, you could hit up 20 schools in 10 minutes, follow them socially, email everybody. Even on the website itself, when you go into the college coach search finder, it's kind of the advertising page right on our website at thescouthub.com. I even have a little download for an Excel spreadsheet that you can download that I used in helping my son, where it has, okay, email, what school, when did you email, put the date, did the coach reply back? It's got all these little questions, these boxes that allow you to research the school a little bit, stay in contact. It's just a master plan for any parent to be able to help them track their efforts, right? So
I'm even thinking of this in reverse. So we describe the resume, how we think it's better, but it's absolutely much cheaper, and it puts all the power in the parents' hands, puts some responsibility in the kids' hands, which, truth be told, is kind of missing in today's world. But then we talked about the college search page. If we do it in reverse and someone purchases for $10 this search page, they still get everything you just showed. They have the ability to find every college, follow them on their Twitter, find their email. You can write your own email to them. We just made it super simple. Yeah. But then once you see how awesome that is, eventually they're going to want to see your athlete play. They're going to want to see him in person. So you better send your videos. You better send your SAT score. You better send your schedule. That's where the resume comes in, because boom, boom, boom. It's simple. It's all there. It's professional. You can update it and now attach it to that college search page. Bada boom, bada bing.
Well, and that's right. And this isn't just for the individual athlete and parent too. We designed it to help the organizations out. So when you're playing for your organization, you're paying your $1,000, $2,000, $500, whatever your fees are to say play in the summer. Well, what are you getting out of that? What are they giving you a player report page? Are they creating the resume for you? How do you know that they're promoting you as an athlete? Well, what if all of a sudden the organization said, and this is where a lot of organizations are coming on board with this, what if they said, hey, we're partnering with the Scout Hub, everybody's getting an athlete resume for $60 or 100, whatever they're going to charge, because a lot of them I know are combining the resume with combines, metrics, testimonials. So they're putting a lot of work into putting some meat into your resume to start. They're, like we were talking about, they're wanting to be the recruiting help and guide for the parents and athletes. So what if all of a sudden an organization said, hey, we want this for all of our players? Well, guess what? You can. And we're creating a platform right now, and we already have a 1.0 version. But we're creating a platform right now where the organization will be able to bulk buy all of the resumes and then have a page on our website that shows all the athletes' names and their athlete resume. So Dave, if you're at a college softball kind of recruiting showcase, a high school showcase, college coaches, you're a recruiter there, and you walk up to a coach and he says, here, coach, scan my QR code. It's going to open up this PDF with all my girls' names and their athlete resume links to it. You'll be able to see all their information, all their bio info. What are you going to think?
Oh, when I'm coaching at a tournament, when I used to do travel ball coaching my daughter, a college coach would come up to me and I would say the same thing every time. What are you looking for? Or who are you working on? They always had their answer. They're there shopping. I need a 2023 third baseman. I need a 2022 catcher. Well, now I could have pulled out my phone, boom, 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 here you go. And I send one of the resumes because I have my whole team. I send it right to them. There you go. Look at them on the field and you have all the information in your phone right now. So Todd, what I'm trying to say is I hate you a little bit because why didn't you do this 10 years ago when my daughter was going through the system?
Yeah, well, it took me a while to learn how to do this, but yeah, that's why I think we get so passionate about it, because it's for me, it's $60 for the lifetime of a resume. It's saving organizations, money. It's saving the parents money. The parents now, if I'm an organization, I'm excited about it because I'm putting more development programs around building the resume. I'm spending more time with the kids and the families. I've got more transparency now. I have now just increased my time at your dinner table as a family because I'm working on building that resume up, which in turn is your athlete. And if I can build that resume up and those metrics and help you put better videos up along the way, who are you going to be patting on the back when I get your kid a scholarship or make a team or just have one hell of a ride through your experience? And we gave everything we had and it just didn't work out because of God's given ability, maybe just didn't give enough in a certain field of our game, right? But we're going to walk away saying, I knew what I was doing as a parent. The confusion's gone. Get rid of the confusion. That's why I get so passionate about this. I can't stand it when I'm talking to parents and I'm saying, what are you using for a recruiting tool? We're not. Well, does your kid want to play college sports? Yeah. Yeah, they play for an organization. Okay, great. What is that organization doing for you? Well, now, are you getting player report pages? No. What are they saying about your kid? What schools are they going to? We're not sure, but we're at field level, and sometimes their video I'll get a notification that a D2 or D3 or D1 coach, watch their video. Well, what schools? I'm not sure. Really? So that's how you go to sleep at night? Like, if you want your kid to play college sports, you got to go get it. And I'm telling you, Dave, we're not just going to be in sports or in terms of field sports or arena sports. We're going into some other fields with this that are going to help a lot of kids and parents that struggle with the exposure of their athlete or their student or their band member or whatever it is. We're going into some of that to be able to help a lot of families at a really reasonable cost, and go spend the extra money on development. Go spend it on going on vacation, whatever. And I get it. And I think you're saying this too. We're not saying that the handheld boutique recruiting services are bad. Sometimes you need that. Sometimes this even can just be overwhelming, but why not double up? That's my thing. In the recruiting
I'm trying
field,
to say, instead of spending the $2,000 with that other company, you could take that $2,000 and buy a tank of gas. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, today, yeah, really. So I wanted to, I know this show is really more about, just kind of lifting it off, getting the podcast going again. I really want to start focusing on some of those recruiting realities and getting into some of the showcase stuff. So Dave, I thought we can maybe end this show with something that recently happened to you and your wife, Leah, that I thought was absolutely freaking hilarious and so true and so real. So can you please let everybody know what happened?
You want the 10-cent tour or the 2-cent tour?
I want whatever you're going to give us, because I know you're going to post something up on your own social platform too, the video you sent me yesterday. But I want, talk about it.
Well, basically, I get questions from everybody all night. I try to get asleep by midnight. Sometimes I got to be home Blyleven, but that's a different story.
Nice.
I get questions about camps. What camp should we go to? Should we go to that camp? I got invited to this camp, but I love the idea of going to college camp, but what I always ask the groups is, okay, what's your list? Who are you getting recruited by? Well, I'm getting recruited by that school, and that school. Oh yeah, how do you know? Well, I got invited to their camp. And without trying to make somebody seem wrong or foolish, 2 days ago, my wife got invited to 2 different camps. Now she's 40 years old. Her eligibility's been used up a long time ago. But let me just read a couple of, not only has our staff been out recruiting hard, we found you and located you. You are definitely our type of athlete. Like, I'm not sure she's picked up a softball in 15 years. I would like to extend an invitation for you. I think you will fit very well on our team. We know how committed you are. Like, what?
Unbelievable.
So the way it works, the reality is a coach goes to a tournament. They get a book full of every team with everybody's email, everybody's contact information. And sure, they're there to do some work. So maybe they find a pitcher from Arizona. Maybe they found a shortstop from Illinois. No matter what it is, when they get back to their office, they look at their assistants, sometimes they're graduate assistants, and they say, here, there's 120 teams in this book. There's over 1,000 kids' emails. Email every one of them and get them to our camp. So you can get recruited from camp. You can get noticed if you attend the college camps. I love the idea. Go to them. They're a good way to promote yourself and have people see you on the field.
Right.
But camps are a moneymaker for almost every school. They need it, especially the assistants at some of the D2s, D3s. They're underpaid.
Yeah.
And when they get hired, usually the head coach says, well, here's the salary. We can't offer you that much, but we're going to make it up to you in camps. We're going to get this many. We're going to do 3 of them in the summer, and I'm going to pay you X amount. So the more kids we get to camp, the more money every one of us gets to put in our pocket on staff. So somehow my wife got on a list and she gets invited to camp now. So I think maybe this summer we're going to show up. I'm going to like find a pair of cleats and pants for her, and she can go like push those 16-year-olds around. I don't know what's going to happen, but
she probably could still. She probably could still do that.
She talks a good game.
Yeah, played at Alabama, so I don't know.
Getting invited to camp can be a good thing, but simply getting invited to camp does not mean you're being recruited by that.
I think that's the biggest message there, because I know that, like you're saying, college coaches, they put a lot of effort into putting those camps on. They put a lot of effort into the camp itself. When you go to those camps, most of them are very professionally run. You're gonna learn something. They've got their structure. You get to play on the grand stage. If you go down to Baylor, or you go to Cal State Fullerton, or whatever, wherever that is, and you're Kelly Ford's out there, or you got whoever else is coaching at Oklahoma State, and you get a chance to go do those things. So go do them, especially if that's a school of interest. But don't think for a minute that you're getting recruited out of that school yet. Take the opportunity and go show what you got to start the recruiting process. In fact, when you get there, go up and say, hey, coach, can I text you something? Get their number and text them your athlete resume. That's right. There you go.
Yeah, I got one more thing popped into my head about camps. I always hear somebody short list. Oh, I narrowed it down to school 1, school 2, school 3. I'm like, okay, cool. Why is school 1 number 1 on your list? Well, I went to camp like you suggested, and I really like the coaches. They're really positive. They were, I hit it off with them. They were great. And again, I don't mean to burst people's bubble, but okay, listen now. If I'm that coach and there's 100-something people there, and they all paid me $250, I'm going to be in a great mood too. I'm going to be a great guy. You're going to love me. You go, oh, Coach Dave, he was awesome. Like, well, yeah, because Coach Dave's streaking down the street. Woohoo! Camp. So again, camps are great. Yes, you can learn the coach's personality, but if all you're saying is, I liked them, they were in a great mood, like right this second, if you give me $250, I'm going to be in a great mood too. That's all I got to say.
Recruiting realities.
There you go.
Part 1. Yeah, there's so many more, fun conversations and things. And I think, the purpose, you and I were talking about it before the show started, was we were kind of going through and making sure that the messages that we wanted to put out today were impactful. And the whole gist of it is we really want to be able to educate and share the realities of what the recruiting world is really like, and not sugarcoat it. We're selling a $60 lifetime resume that really is comparable to the best of the best, if not better. We're giving coaches information away one at a time through this whole platform, multi-sport, for $10 a month. So yeah, it's a business. We're trying to grow this business, but we're doing it really with a huge heart and a ton of just well thought, good wishes, goodwill, save some money, put money into your development, into areas of your game. You should not be spending $2,000, $3,000 on this when it's right there at your fingertips, and you're paying your organization, your coaches anyways. Most of the time, how often do you, last question, I guess, on this, on the recruiting side, how often are you working with a kid where they say, I want to go on the other side of the country? Most of the time it's pretty regional. Like, I grew up in the South. I want to stay in the South. Maybe I want to go to Arkansas. I want to go to Oklahoma. I want to go to Georgia Tech. I want to go down to Florida. I want to stay in the South, Southeast. On the West Coast, how many kids on the West Coast want to leave California or Arizona? Or maybe go to UNLV on the Nevada side, Northwest, you're kind of staying up in that region. So get with the coaches that know coaches in that region that are probably talking to those coaches all the time. Those are your best recruiting help. Yeah. Like you said in the very beginning, fill out what you can, go in and talk to your coaches, see what they can do to help you out, put the best resume together, and then you have access to thousands and thousands of coaches to start doing it on your own. And then hit your camps and go to your showcases. That's a totally different podcast. We'll go into that next week, and showcases and what you're really looking for when you get there, what you're looking for when you leave, the ROI, the return on investment that you're expecting. Maybe we can get into that too. That would be fun.
Done. We'll see you next week, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.